welcome back. Cast to Oblivion, episode 6. We're doing our Nats recap episode and talking about Nats in the future as well. I'm one of your co-hosts, Zach, and I'm joined by Polly Kranka's oft-wing companion, Carter Barden. Carter, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Wait, does that mean I'm like so
You're
if,
the
if
companion to the companion.
yeah, so if Polly Kranka is on Puffin's shoulder perched,
Yep.
does that mean I'm on Polly Kranka's shoulder?
Wing, but yeah.
Okay, well, there's like worse companions I could be. That's not too bad.
Yep.
Don't bolt the bird. The bird did
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, if you bolt the bird, you fall. So like we can't have that
Yeah,
happen.
don't do that. It's me. No.
Yeah.
I'm doing great, Zach.
Nice.
We are recording this a week after Nationals. I think both you and I had an absolute blast, like usual. I
Yep.
think that was without a doubt going to happen. Is we were going to have fun this weekend. Uh, Obviously the questions being is just how we would do, I guess. So I don't know. Like I can start us off a little bit. I played in Nationals. I went 4-4 with Pirate Puffin. I went 3-2 in the Classic Constructed rounds, and I went 1-2 in my draft. Unfortunately, I played against 5 separate heroes for Classic Constructed. I started off with a loss and a victor after telling myself that was the matchup I wanted to see. Which now I'm gonna even give myself a little bit of an out here. Okay. I don't care what deck you're playing, but if Victor wins not one but 2 tests of Iron Grips on the turns that you have a pummel and the card to pitch for it in hand, I don't care what deck you're on, you're losing that game. 100%. Game ends. He's at 4 or 5 life, and it is just like he dodged both my pummels because they lined up that well, which makes me very sad. And then on top of that, he had all of his extenders on the turns that I had no pressure, so he's able to go like E strike into Boulder's Drop or something like that on all of the turns that I essentially had to Arsenal Pass or just shot pistol or whatever. So a bit sad, but I brought it back with 3 wins in a row. I beat a Vincent, or I beat a Dash IO round 2, a Vincent round 3. Uh, what the heck did I play round 4? Oh,
I have
Gravy,
no idea.
Fatigue to Gravy Bones, and then round 5 I played against Majin Bay, uh, one of the people who top aided, on Acilio 1, and unfortunately I boarded wrong. Now, we'll touch on this in a little bit here, but there's 2 versions of Acilio 1 that are currently being played. There's Gone in a Flash Pile, and then there is Arcane Damage up, up the wazoo pile. Uh, I boarded in a lot of my blues that coincidentally block 2. Because I was like, oh, well, if I board in all the D reacts, like the Sync Blows and the Shelters I have on my board, and he's on Arcane Damage Acilio, that is a probably 100% losable game. And I don't think I wanted that at all. So I boarded in my blues instead, because at least those, like I could definitely draw hands and still win into like the Gone in a Flash deck. If that's an open decklist game though, and I'm able to board in 6 block 4 D reacts against a Gone in a Flash, Flittering Charge, Ravenous Rabble Red pile, I think I win that game 100%. And it was still close. He's at 3,
Yeah.
so anyone's game. I had a blast though. I mean, he was a really fun opponent to play against. So I've always enjoyed playing against Majin. He's a good guy, and
Yeah.
congrats to him on top 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. How about you?
Nice.
How's your weekend?
I played a bunch of side events. And that was kind of my plan going in. Side events are a bunch of fun. You get a bunch of tickets, and then you turn tickets into shiny pieces of cardboard.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of those things. So I just
shiny
grinded
cardboard.
side events. I played all but one of my events were stage events. My
Wow.
first event on Friday was a CC event. I just flat out didn't have fun. I'll be
Oh,
honest. Like I was playing combo, Gone in a Flash Cilio, and I just my deck just didn't draw well. I was frustrated. Like again, the games were close. It was good flesh and blood, but like I wasn't having fun. I wasn't having fun because I wasn't doing my thing. It just they weren't enjoyable games. I felt like there was a lot of lack of interaction,
sure.
and meaningful decisions that were got to made. I ran into at one point in time. I ran into one of the versions of Acilio that was on the Oops All Spells. I sideboarded wrong. I didn't bring any arcane. I'm like, I don't respect the matchup. I'll be honest. I flat out don't respect the matchup. Because I was like, whatever. It is what it is. And then I think I also like it was frustrating. I proceeded to see 2 Gone in a Flashes in 4 games.
Oh, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. But like, I don't know, there were some interesting games, there's some interesting play lines. I'm like, cool, it is what it is. I think I was also frustrated because that was the Super Armory event. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna get Gem 5, and I got
yeah.
Gem 3 cards. You've heard this story probably like 3 times at this point now, I think,
No,
or
I
at
haven't
least
heard this at
somebody has.
all.
They're like, hey, they're like, oh, you get, it's a Super Armory. You're
Yeah.
gonna get gem packs, maybe some additional prizing and things like that. And I sit down and they're handing out the gem packs and it's Gem 3. I'm just like, I don't want this. Like if it was
It
Gem
wasn't
4, I'd be like, okay, cool, whatever.
it
But
wasn't
Gem
Gem Pack
3,
5?
like give me Gem Pack 5, one, but like two, why Gem 3? Like so like that was kind of just eh, bad taste in my mouth. But that evening, so on Friday evening was the Sage, one of the promo events. I did that. I went 3-0, dropped and went and grabbed dinner with a friend. So that felt pretty good. And then on Saturday played a bunch of Sage games. Sunday played a bunch of Sage games. So I think I ended up going 18-9
Okay.
in Sage events on the weekend. I lost to one Wizard, two Drum Eyes, and everything else I lost to was a Briar. So
Oh boy.
yeah. I mean that's how it goes. Like there was a lot of Briar running around. We could talk about Burn Up Shock. We can talk about Lightning Press, things like that. I think Briar will get rotated out at some point in time.
Yep.
If that's next season, awesome, cool, great. I think also Briar gets rotated out. You have to get rid of Burn Up Shock in this format. I think Lightning Press can exist in this format.
Yeah. I don't
I think
disagree.
having Lightning Press currently exist in this format with Burn Up Shock legal, not good. I think you should ban both of them and then go back to the drawing board. And then when Briar comes back, maybe you unban Lightning Press, something like that in between.
Uh,
It
I
doesn't
think
matter. I don't really care.
yeah.
I think there's some really unique things you can do with like Sigil of Voltaris, Blast to Oblivion, Lightning Press. That's what I'm about. I'm into those type of shenanigans. So if we can do that, I'm all for that. But I do think Burn Up Shock can't exist in this format. I know why it's legal in the format. I get why it's legal. I'm okay with it. It can create some really non-games. It forces you to play Arcane Polarity into the Briar matchup when you really don't want to kind of mitigate some of that damage that you're going to take off the burn up shocks, things like that as you go. But I was on 5 for a majority of my Sage events except for one, which was on Briar, where I went 3-1, going 2-1 into the mirror, and then I think I
Sure.
blew up something else.
Did you play
Um,
the precon or did you borrow
no,
someone
my
else's
buddy
deck?
had a Sage Briar deck on him. I was like, hey, I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, can I borrow your Briar deck for this next event? He's like, sure. So I borrowed his deck. I just needed something. I knew I was gonna be playing a lot of Fi. I
Mhm.
realized on Saturday, I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna be focusing playing Sage events. Because I was having a lot of fun with the format, and I learned a lot about the format. And I think skirmish season that's coming in August, we can talk about this in the like. You're laughing at me, but
So
like I think there's some
I
unique things
I'm
that
not
this
laughing
format
at
is
you.
going to evolve into. I don't think we're there yet.
So
So
I guess the reason I'm laughing is I played I believe it was 2 Silver Age events this weekend. I played both of them on Viserai, which again, like I play Sage to have fun currently.
yep,
I do not play Sage to play a competitive level deck. I'm on a like Nimblism, hit the high notes, Viserai, playing
deck's
Nebula
cool.
Blade. It's fun. And you could do some really cool stuff with it. You know, you can do some really big damage turns. The issue is that once you're out of equipment, uh, that is like very much not the case, right? Because like all of a sudden you get one turn per game where you get to go like red Nimblism, crack boots, red hit the high notes coming in for make a rune chant and 9 physical, and then you crack your arm piece and come with Nebula Blade for 1 arcane and 6 physical on hit make a rune chant. Like it's a 3 card 18 or something. Cool. That's awesome. Once you do that once, it's like it is downhill from there. So in the Briar matchups, it is a race. It's like, okay, do I get to see one of my red embolisms? Does it line up with a hand? If the answer is yes, I can maybe win that game. The issue is that I played into not one, not two, but pretty much 3 old hymns in a row because I played into 2 old hymns in one of these Silver Age events, and then an Enigma, and it was legitimately the most uninteractive Flesh and Blood I have ever played for one of these events, and I might as well have just not played it, honestly.
Yeah.
Uh Kudos to the people I played. They played well, like whatever, right? Like Oldhim is always gonna be a thing. Enigma's always gonna be a thing. Uh but there was like one point where I finished my game against the first Oldhim. I'm fatigued, whatever. I sit down for my next game. I'm like, oh boy, I'm 0-1. Surely I don't play another Oldhim. I played another Oldhim. Uh, I have some tech for the matchup where I'm like trying to Drowning Desire with Dominate to like return a leech memory to the bottom of my deck, and then you
Cycle.
can cycle this, and eventually like the late game you have like a 3-card 9. The issue is that there are so many ways to get around Dominate, and that you're never gonna hit, so it just doesn't matter. If you get lucky, maybe. But yeah, uh, I have opinions about Silver Age. We're gonna shelve that. That's for another day. I think Burn Up Shock. I'm in the same agreement as you. I don't think Burn Up Shock should be illegal right now. Together with Lightning Press.
I think long term, I think Lightning Press is going to be in this format, and I think
Yes,
it's going to be a staple in the format. That's fine.
it's where we
But
have
when
both
you
at the
do the
same
thing of,
time.
oh, I draw a hand and I know I have Lightning Press in my deck, and I draw a hand that's one, let's say I draw the hand that's Burn Up Shock and Lightning Press at the same time, and I go one of my 0 for 4s, I go Burn Up Shock, 0 for 4, press it, do additional 4 damage. Like it's just it's a blowout on a level that you can't have in a 20 health
The
format.
the issue, right? Because there's decks that beat that. Oldhim and Enigma are two decks that can 100% play around Burn Up Shock and Lightning Press, and 100% can just fatigue Briar. There are ways to beat it. The issue is that any other deck that is not designed to beat it kind of just loses to it if they draw it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you don't have a triangle where it's like these decks beat the fatigue decks beat Briar, Briar beats those decks. You just have this weird spot where those decks just don't beat either, which is kind
Yeah.
of miserable,
And
honestly.
that's my one issue with Silver Age. I think the wizards in Silver Age provide a nice literal lever between Icelander Blaze, and there's this Acilio list that's running around that's really really funny that I'm going to
Yeah,
commit some war crimes with during skirmish season. I think those wizards provide a nice little just injection of something different to the format, which
they're
is
definitely
good.
cool.
Yeah. And it helps, and I think it helps that they exist because it kind of punishes some of the like block slot guardian, but that's a different point. Again, we
Yeah,
can have a whole completely different conversation about Sage, but again, I had a bunch of fun at Nats.
yeah,
I got to hang out
it
with all
was a
my
good time.
friends. I got a bunch of really cool shiny pieces of cardboard. Um, and then I played in the Silver Age Showdown, and I started off 2-0, and I was at like seat 8 or something like that, feeling really really good. And then I played and I bricked turn 1 against the Dromai, and I never was able to recover. So
Yeah, that's rough.
the joys of Phi. So um but like again, it was a super fun, like everyone I interacted with was great. Like it's a super positive community. Like obviously for me going back to Minnesota is always a lot of fun because like obviously I know a lot of people there because I lived there for 7 years. I was able to catch up with friends. It was funny for me. Like we were walking by the convention center. I used to live a couple blocks from there, so I'm like, I knew all these spots. I knew how to kind of get
Yeah,
some of the shortcuts around. And you and like everyone else, like, where are we going? Like we just go this way. Like just trust. And we were able to get to where we needed. Like that was a lot of fun. But like, um, it was a good time, and it's always a good time. Nat's always a good time. Being able to go to Colleen's pro tours, all those other things that are like kind of local, that you can travel for is always a good thing to do with this game. And like again, there's that tagline: "Play the game, see the world."
yep,
It's there for a reason. There's this community that's for the most part awesome, and you get to know people. Eventually you see familiar faces and things like that if you go to enough events, which is always interesting and fun as
yeah.
well.
No, it's it goes without saying too. This is like a huge nationals for the U.S. I believe it was the most number of you or the highest number of unique players we've ever had at a U.S. nationals. So that's basically you count every player who played at least one event, no matter if it was I believe a side event, a calling, nationals, showdown, etc. I think we were close to 1,000, is what I heard. I heard we were like
Yeah.
950 something, which is very cool. And then moving on to what I'm gonna call housekeeping, because I should have said
Yeah.
this at the start of the episode because I'm really professional at this. We want to shout out two Minnesota locals who top aided U.S. Nats. We want to shout out Matthew Gump and Jonathan Magnuson. Matthew Gump being, I believe, the first 15-0 ever at Nationals.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yeah, on Fi, a deck
Yep.
that we ranked like high B, which I still am very confident in that ranking because I do think the way that we thought about it was like, okay, it's just an aggressive deck, whatever. Matthew brought the way he likes to play it, which is a very much combo oriented list where you're setting it up with like Truce and other cards like that, and you bank on like one or two really big turns and just blow your opponent out of the water, which is awesome. And then Jonathan Magnuson proving us a little bit correct that Ziggy Starlight
Ziggy has legs.
is a good hero. Turns
Who would have
out
thought?
put the lightning, you put the illusionist in the bag, and you shake it up, and all of a sudden you get like a cool card pool. Did Jonathan activate, or did John activate Ziggy's hero ability very much this weekend? I guarantee you, probably not.
Activated it once,
Maybe
maybe.
a few times. I guarantee you, it's probably maybe countable on two hands.
I mean, you can get some really cool value off of
Yeah,
hero abilities,
yeah,
like with bouncing out Crace of Space Dust. There's some other auras that you can do some fun things with as well. But like again, that deck was super cool to see. I wasn't I was kind of expecting parts of that deck. I wasn't expecting the I'm gonna do Gone in a Flash Acilio cosplay real quick, and then I'm also gonna set a board state at the same time that I can
yeah,
consistently send 5 damage with and prevent 1, 2, 3, 4 damage.
yeah. No,
Pretty cool.
it was a sweet list. I mean,
Yep.
uh, some pretty unique parts to it, like yellow sync belows and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Um, it just goes to show like there's a lot of unique deck building, especially in the state of Minnesota. So,
Yep.
once again, congratulations to those two. And then, funnily enough, I want to actually shout out one more person. I didn't write this person in the notes. Uh, I don't know if you know Dom at all in
I
the
do know
Minnesota
Dom.
area.
Yep.
Uh, Dom is maybe he is my vote for the most underrated player in Minnesota by a mile because he was not playing the game for like the last 7 months. This man has been busy with his job, busy with work. He's been doing everything except for play Flesh and Blood. And this guy shows up on Friday and just wins the World Championship qualifier event on Enigma in Silver Age out of nowhere. And like that's such a cool story, you know. So props to Dom. Congratulations, my friend. You absolutely deserve it. I really hope to see you absolutely kill it in Paris, which is awesome.
Yeah. Which is I think you qualify for Worlds, which is super cool. Off
Yeah.
of Dom's one of those players that really enjoys Sage, Commoner, those type of events, and seem have success with it at that type of event. Is really cool too.
Mm-hmm. And then our other piece of housekeeping before we dive into our little meta Nats recap is we have a Discord server now. That's right. You listening to this very episode can now join a Discord server and have me and Zach at your beck and call and answer all of your questions about Flesh and Blood, about what our favorite food is, like whatever else. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be great. So we have a Discord. You can check the link in the description below, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify, and then come ask us questions and be part of our community and stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
eventually we'll do. I imagine at some point we'll do like giveaways or events or like whatever. Obviously, maybe not yet. We'll get to that point. So be an early listener to join our Discord
Yeah.
server.
Throw us questions if you got questions you want to ask about the meta or things about us, and we'll put together probably a mailbag episode at some point in time, as I think what we're gonna plan to do, rather than just having like weekly questions. So should be
Yeah,
good.
I kind of am more of a fan of like every few episodes will have like a dedicated portion to it where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, here's our like half hour where we answer questions.
Yeah. I like it.
So we'll start piling those up, and then if we have like a shorter topic to talk about, that's be like the second half of that episode.
Yeah.
which
But
should
we
work
do
well.
gotta dive into, we had our tier list that went out before Nats. We had a couple comments in our YouTube section about, where we put certain heroes. Again, when we made that tier list, we were just like, hey, these were just our kind of unfiltered thoughts. But there were 4 decks, maybe 5 decks that we kind of like, okay, cool. Retroactively looking at the meta, how decks performed, things that we learned over the course of the weekend that decks we need to kind of maybe clean up where they were positioned. I think the biggest one is we put Mario in S tier.
Mm-hmm.
I think from a strength, pure power point of view, Mario 100% S tier hero. I think where Mario performed specifically at US Nats, very few day twos to my knowledge, and then obviously no heroes in the top 8.
Yep.
Deck didn't definitely did not perform to that S tier
Yeah.
label or that ranking. I think two things exist for that, and you can probably speak to it a little bit as well. But again, people expecting Mario to be prevalent, and then bringing in specific tech that's gonna help and shore up your matchups. Matthew Gump talked about Boots of Ominous Ward is one of those pieces that can kind of shut
Oh
down some of
man.
those things. And then again, just more players expecting that, so you're going to be able to tech into it, so like it creates this nice ebb and flow, give and take. And I think the Mario players weren't the ones that adjusted. I think the rest of the meta adjusted around that,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of saw Mario struggle. Um, yeah,
And then yeah, just like a high presence of Gravy Bones, which despite the new expansion slot card that helps out Marionette and Assassins into ally decks like that, it's not like it guarantees the matchup, you know. Uh all in all, I still think that Marionette is definitely an S tier deck. I am not going to be surprised if that deck wins some Nationals events in the next few weeks. But in terms of like U.S. Nationals meta, I don't know how the Victor matchup is for Marionette. I imagine it's at least playable if that deck is popular. But I assume the Gravy Bones matchup's not that great. And if Gravy Bones is going to be a deck that is represented pretty highly, I just don't think that Marionette is going to see all that.
no, that's fair.
Uh, Also, not to mention, like, think about how many people packed probably like Ripple Aways and Shelters, which are just good cards.
Yeah,
They happen to be good into both Victor and Marionette, so you know maybe it's not necessarily people bringing in cards specifically for Marionette, but it's like, oh, well, Ripple Away is just good into Visit the Goldman Estate. It's also good into Orb Weaver Spinneret.
yeah,
Okay, cool. It's a blowout card. It 100% can be into Marionette, so
yeah.
not really
Agreed.
surprising. Um,
Um, we did Fi obviously performed well,
mhm.
two in the top 8. I think we put Fi mid high B tier.
Yep.
Retrospectively, we could say mid A tier,
Yeah.
top of B tier. Again, we saw two different versions of that deck. Matthew Gump being on that more combo focus, setting things up, pushing through a lot of damage. And then I think the other five, it seemed like it was more or less traditional Fi list from what
Yep.
I saw. Again, I've talked about this for, I don't know, maybe 6 months at this point now. I think Fi is a strong deck. I don't think very many people play that deck. So I think if you look at the strength of a deck and then you look at the meta representation of that deck, Fi is a strong deck, but it's just going to have low meta representation because he's
Yeah.
at something points. Like there's a lot of things going on. Syndra does a similar but different thing that people maybe want to play around. So like again, you're gonna see the Fi players. I feel like Matthew Gump's been on Fi since
Yep.
Uprising released. Um, have seen it true and true. They're able to make a couple of adjustments. They have lots of reps on that deck. They can get there. I think also I talked with one of our Minnesota locals about this when I was at Nats. Is this like I think one of the things about Flesh and Blood too that we don't talk enough about is there ninjas. I'll use ninjas as an example, like are kind of the sequencing type of deck, but there's complexity to that sequencing. So Katsu is very complex for his sequencing to get his things happen and for them to work out. Fi is a little less complicated than that. Syndra is a little less complicated than what Fi does. So there's that type of lever, and because maybe Fi is simpler, people are going to gravitate towards that deck rather than Fi. So it's just one of those things that
Or
exist.
they'll
Yeah,
gravitate towards Syndra rather than
yeah,
Fi.
Syndra rather than Fi. I think again, Fi. There's some unique lines you can take. There's some
Yeah.
priority things. There's the fire that burns within. If you put it at link 3, you respond with a Fi activation, so you don't have to pay a resource, so you can grab a flames, yeet a flame, draw a card.
Yep.
There's that sequencing that you kind of need to understand that isn't necessarily there on its face. So it's just one of those things available.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Fi, I think, is that he's kind of like old kid on the block. There's a lot of new toys, and by toys I mean heroes that have released since Uprising, including another Draconic Ninja. So you know, it's not like their card pools are that different or the strategies are
Yeah.
that different. Uh, it's just that one of them was printed in 2025, and one of them was
Yeah.
printed in 2023. So
Two?
2022.
22? 22.
Uprising was in the summer of
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah. Four
Yeah,
years.
that's crazy. So you know, it's cool. We saw two flavors of Fi. The deck's good. It's also a deck that can just win games into matchups that it doesn't really deserve to because it occasionally you just draw really really well and your opponent just bricks a hand or two and you win. So
Yep.
he's very consistent. You count to 4, you play your rupture effect.
Yep.
Lava
Pretty good.
Burst is a good card. Turns out.
True.
I think the next deck we want to talk about is Acilio 1, the first Acilio.
Astilio 2 is not good. There. Okay. Cool. Carry on.
As seen by our top 8, I believe there was two versions of Acilio. There was a Gone in a Flash, Flittering Charge, is it Second Strike? Uh,
Yeah.
ton of lightning, zero cost attack actions with some arcane damage in the middle of all that, where you just keep chipping away at your opponent, and then you have like one really big Gone in a Flash turn off your boots, and that's what wins you the game. And then there's the new arcane Acilio, which you're playing like Echo Flash, and you can discard that to your hero ability to ping your opponent for 1. So you're essentially playing like a 57 card deck with 3 cards in it that just say discard this, draw a card, ping for 1. That's pretty cool.
Pretty good.
And then Aether Flare? No, you're a wizard player. What's the card name?
Aeth- Aether Flare, the one that gives your
Yeah.
next thing plus X, X being the amount of damage you dealt.
Yep. Play that off Storm Striders and then explode your
Yeah.
opponent.
Yeah. I think so there are two different Acilios. One is literally an Aurora cosplay, playing the second strikes, the flitterings, things like that. Rather than pinging damage off of arcane lightning, you're pinging damage off of all the yellow constellos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is, kind of a, unique thing
Yeah.
that you can do. You're not pushing the same like heavy arcane that you were doing off of Volzar. You weren't like Comet Storm for 12. Lots of fun. Not happening anymore. Cool, whatever. But again, there's cards like Comet Collision. If an instant's gone to graveyard, multiple ways for an instant to get into graveyard, you can send that for 5, activating your staff off that. Which
Yep.
is pretty good value. 0 for 5, pretty good, especially arcane. Hard to prevent. And then like you said, there's that big gone combo turn. Gone in a Flash, we know it's a power card. You can present 24, 28 damage off of, depending on the hand, with some arcane sequencing going therein. Cool, whatever. But again, I think the more unique list is that Oops All Spells list I keep referring to, using Aether Flare, but you're also at the same time using some of the new instance cards from Omen. So Cosmic Flares, Meteoric Impact, Chromatic Refinement being the 3 big ones there. That Chromatic Refinement being able to make a meteoric impact come in for, well, make it a 0 cost, but also have it come in for additional 1 damage because of the way replacement effects work with chromatic. So if you played back in the day with Ball Lightning says the next time you would do damage, you do that much plus 1. Arcane damage is already dealing the damage. You're
Yeah.
just having to pitch the AB. So you don't have to worry about that damage leaking through to get that excess damage, which is super nice. And then kind of like you said, that Aether Flare being able to create that excess value with some of those things. And then you're using cards like Flash Bolts and Strike Twices as well to leak extra arcane damage on your opponent's turn or even on your turn to kind of get to that point where you set up Storm Striders, best card in the game, and just go boom.
Yeah, it's insane. The window that deck can kill you is very tall, especially for a weekend that I think a lot of people did not respect. Tall arcane. Like I think people brought their AB1, right? Like
Yeah.
that's pretty free, but I don't think a lot of people brought like Oasis Respite,
Or
even
AB3.
yeah, or even like Red Brush Off, like stuff like that. Obviously that's
Brush off?
maybe blue brush off, but so yeah, I think I'd probably move Vasily up a little bit in our tier list.
Yeah. I
I
think we
think
put him in A, but I think he could be a little
yeah,
higher up in A. Again,
yep.
both versions of that deck are strong. Um,
He
again, if
he
you're
gains a lot in the Swiss rounds. If you
yeah,
sit against the because this is like what happened to me, right? It's like I sat down against Majin Bay. I don't know what version of the list he's on, and I boarded wrong, and that
yeah. I mean,
gives
but if you
him
sit down against
5.
Majin Bay, a known player, you
Yeah,
assume he's going to be on a more heavier arcane focus.
yeah. So it's like he probably swings that matchup 5-10% his direction by me boarding wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
the thing with wizards is if they do weird stuff like that, and you board the wrong equipment in or the wrong prevention effects in, you're gonna get tased, and
yeah.
that's what happens. We had two Disilios in the top 8, so and they're both really good players.
Yeah.
Um, Final deck, we'll address this. Is Teklevasen. Thank you, viewer, in the chat of our past episode, talking about how we had Teklo very, very low on our tier list. I believe one top 16.
Yes.
Uh,
At least top 20.
I will fully admit that I think Tekla should be like a full tier up on our tier list. He probably is a B tier deck, like mid to high B. I'm biased. We have one of our local Tekla players, Mr. Tyler, who is a G. We love Tyler. Um, he has been on Tekla Boston since Tekla Boston was bad. I am biased because this deck, I never it's like Schrodinger's meta or like Schrodinger's hero. Because
Schrodinger's Tekla
every time I see a new Teklevasen expansion or like a pretty big meta shakeup, I never know whether Teklevasen's alive or dead until you open the stupid box. And we opened the box, and that's Nationals, and we opened it up and Teklevasen top 16s. So okay, yeah, I will fully
Yeah.
admit he should be a B tier deck.
Yeah, I think something that's underrated is I think we talked about this. The compendium rares, the new Evos, give him just an ability to get online a little bit sooner and get some excess value. Yes, you want the really strong blue Evo steals, like
Yep.
those are Tekla's bread and butter. But now you have additional ways to kind of set up a little bit more armor, and you can mitigate some damage. You can kind of get there. There's some more tools in the deck with the mainframe cards and things like that as well that help you get to your end game faster, so you're not just having to like fatigue out and chip out to the end game. Like you're now playing like what feels like more like a true like mid-range game plan.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of where you want to be with that type of deck. And then you set up like your late game's really strong. You're
Yeah.
online, you have your tanks with go again or for power, you're going to be leaking damage and chipping things in. That's a really strong thing to do. And you can also be potentially stripping cards from your opponent's hand. So
Yeah.
there's
It's
some
really
good plays
weird,
there.
right? Because it's like those new Evo pieces making the Steel Souls cheaper to play onto your curve. Because like you activate Teklebasen with the blue. Cool. You pitch a second blue now instead of a blue plus a resource to play an Evo on your opponent's turn and then draw a card.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now I have a 3 block equipment piece, and I drew a card, presumably a 3 block, by pitching 2 cards. Like, you're down a little bit, but not very much. You have extra ammunition for the mid game, because the moment you actually flip over into Mekhlavasen, now you have like maybe 2 to 3 more attacks because you're actually playing more Evos in your deck. That's pretty sweet. Uh, it really feels like if Teklevasen's power level in a game is a bell curve, right? Where it's like in the early game he has very very little defense value because he has nothing equipped, and then he equips stuff and transforms, and the more he attacks, the weaker his deck gets because you're running out of ammunition, whatever.
Yep.
It used to be where like his early game was terrible, his mid game was mediocre, and then his late game was a lot better. But it actually feels like it's turned into a bell curve now because now your early game's still kind of it's better than it used to be, but it's still weak. Your
Yeah.
mid games get better because you get into your mech faster. But if your opponent's able to run you out of mech attacks now, you have a bunch of 1 blocks in your deck that don't do anything. So I'm happy. I think it's actually a really cool spot to put
I
Teklevasen.
think the deck is I think the deck's always been unique. I think the deck now finally has an identity that feels like it's a mech and you're still like you're working towards something, which is really cool, rather than before sometimes it just felt like you were this generic block soup type deck that was kind of uninteracting and dull in my opinion. Now I think the deck has a lot more decisions that you have
Yep.
to make. And I think again, this is a really good meta to look at it. We had one top 16, and you're able to play into Syndras and Vi's and Gravies and things like that pretty well. Like a year ago, that was definitely not
Ugh.
the case.
Yeah. Yep. So to alleviate concerns about our bias against Teklobasa, he is B tier. It has been spoken. It's been put into existence. Uh, I will not take back what I said about Betsy though. As of right now, I think Betsy is terrible. The moment Victor Living Legends, I will revisit that statement. Uh, but that matchup just feels like an auto loss with the new log, despite how good that weapon is. The weapon is insane. Um, probably one of the best weapons printed in the game, to be honest. But uh, with that being said, I think our tier list was pretty spot on. I think we were on point with a lot of the decks that we pointed out were going to be pretty good. Obviously, Gravy Bones won the weekend. Um, I don't think that's exactly surprising, given the split of the metagame.
I
Um,
did think Vi's in top 8 we're gonna do better against Gravy. That kind of surprised me.
yeah,
Um,
the that matchup's still losable if you don't draw very well.
yeah,
And
I think the
unfortunately,
Gravy played those really well
oh
too.
yeah,
Like I
no, they played. It's not like they just won the game because their opponent drew poorly, right? Like I think every single top 8 game was still at least pretty entertaining.
yeah,
Um, that final game, Victor into Gravy though, I think I tuned in and it was like 30 to 8 life, and there's like a whaler in play, and I just kind of went, ooh,
yeah,
uh, yikes, that's probably knockout, right? So
yeah.
you know, is what it is. But uh so where do we go from here, right? So this upcoming weekend, or sorry, this will be posted on Monday after the weekend that has, I believe, no nationals events.
This weekend there are like 5 nationals.
Oh,
So
there
there's
are. Okay, so there
Japan,
there are
New
some.
Zealand,
Cool.
Singapore, the kind of the big ones, and then a couple smaller European countries.
Okay.
Romania's in there.
Okay. My
Um,
bad. I thought there was
Australia.
a 2 week gap between nationals. Uh so we are going to be entering national season here. Um so like what do we expect to see, right? So uh we have a number of heroes who are above 800 or 900 points on the Living Legend board. I think Victor is by far the one we expect to Living Legend, no holds barred. Like I don't think that is a surprise to anyone to say that. However, we have a number of heroes who are on deck. We have Phi, Prism, Dash.io, Kasai, and Syndra. I think all have the potential to Living Legend this season,
Yeah.
and it
I mean,
really
all
is
those heroes are
dependent
above
on.
800 points too.
Yep, it's heavily dependent on each individual nationals meta,
Yeah.
right? Because like Prism, I don't know if it would have done very well at US stats because of how like the top 3 decks were like relatively equally represented, and Prism thrives in metas where they're able to target one archetype, right? Because it's like, okay, if I know I'm going to be playing into a lot of like Guardian decks, then I'll build a board state deck. If I'm playing into a lot of aggressive decks, then I'm going to play more of the uh, flip Soraya and kill you type things. So I think in the instance of Prism or even like Phi, like it kind of depends on your nationals meta. But like Dash.io, strong aggressive deck, has some anti fatigue tools that definitely could win some nationals events. Kasai also. Funnily enough, like we're seeing some really crazy Mastery Pack Warrior cards. But Kasai might not live to see the light of day.
Yep.
And then Syndra also is like both Draconic Ninjas are fairly strong right now, so we will see how it goes. I don't know, like what
Yeah.
do you think? Like I'm expecting Victor.
Yeah, I think Victor goes. I think I think Fi at US Nash showed that Fi is still a deck that is strong. So maybe people are gonna play that a little bit more, and he kind of gets there. Prism is 49 points away, but Prism needs the right meta to go. Again, there's enough events that I think Prism is going to win a Nats or two. Is it
Mm-hmm.
enough of the events that give us enough points to get her over the line? I don't know. Um, I hope Prism goes before Monarch 3 comes out, because I don't think we need two Prisms out at the same time. We're gonna get Prism 3 with the new Monarch. Come on,
You think we're
w
gonna get a
money.
third Prism?
LSS likes money, and then if you print an illusionist and you print Prism, you make money. Like,
I don't know about that.
I mean, like, I would not be surprised if we don't get a new light illusionist. But again, money.
I
So
We can obviously talk about that more probably in like a
that's a
month or
different
two,
episode.
because all things assumed, Pro Tour Las Vegas is when we are going to get more information about set 20.
Yeah,
We're gonna
it's about a month
probably
away.
we're 100% gonna get the set name. We're probably gonna get, I'm gonna say, one of the heroes at Vegas, and it's either gonna be, okay, we're getting a third Prism, or it's gonna be Chain 2, or it's gonna be like Balgor, right? Or like classic constructed
Yeah,
demon hero shadow typing or something. So I don't know. I could also see there being a world where like Monarch 3 is only shadow with
yeah,
you know,
and then like set
the
21
omens.
is a light version of that set. I could see that.
Yeah. So
Um, but I do think Victor needs 101 points. Victor's on the 1.5 modifier, so there's a lot of things working for Victor to get there. Victor is always going to be a strong deck. I think it's very hard to tech into Victor.
yep.
Um, but
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
Who do you hope LLs?
Victor,
Okay,
and I do hope I want to
besides
see
Victor.
Kasai gone. I want to see Kasai gone.
Oh, okay.
Um, I think Kasai's a fine deck. I think she's been successful. I think people like her. All those other good things. I think she's kind of just boring to me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Don't let the a few Minnesotans let you, or hear
I mean, I think
don't
there's
let a
been
few
some cool
Minnesotans
evolutions of
hear you
that
say
deck.
that.
I think like when Andrew Rothamel started playing, what is it, draw crowd, or whatever that card was, that
Uh
+3.
oh crap. I know what you're talking about. That card's really good. Draw
Yeah,
swords.
draw swords. I think
Yeah.
the inclusion of that card in that deck made that deck like a little bit more interesting and things like that. And I think the evolution of that deck has been a lot more exciting than like the evolution of like Victor. Um, I think again, Kasai's gonna get some cool new toys in Mastery Pack Warrior. I kind of think it would be funny if she doesn't get to play any of them.
I I have a sweet spot for Kasai in my heart. A friend of mine, a couple friends of mine are champions of that deck. They absolutely love it. So
I mean,
I
like,
hope
I
she's
want
not
Merrick to
gone.
still be able to play it,
Yeah,
but nobody else. Maybe if that's allowed. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but
sure. We can let Merrick play Kasai forever.
yeah,
I'll never forget the time that I played Merrick in a top 8 at a Living Legends skirmish, and I brought I brought Chain, and it was Boomer Chain, and it was the only game that day that I brought in Duskblade. And there's a point in that game where I have attacked with like my full hand, including everything from Banish, and he's blocked out everything and taken 0 damage. And then I go, okay, attack with the Duskblade for 9, and he just goes, okay, take 9. Like, granted, he top aided a Living Legends skirmish with Kasai, which is very impressive and very
yeah,
funny. Uh, Currently in Classic Constructed, I think that deck is still very, very strong. It requires a pilot who understands what they're doing. So I think the fatigue matchups for that deck are very, very good, because Raise an Army is insane. And
yeah,
then Riches of Triple Donny has allowed you to not even have to interact with your opponent in order to create gold. So very boring take, but that deck is good. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's like kind of all that needs to be really said heading into the remaining nationals events. Obviously, we were recording this before this weekend's event, so we do not know
Yeah.
the winners of I think you said Japan, uh,
New
New
Zealand,
Zealand, couple
Singapore.
European countries too.
The as of recording right now, New Zealand Nationals is going into their top 8. Um,
Wow, that is fast. Really?
yeah, I mean it's already Sunday there.
Are they 2 days ahead? Or,
No,
no,
they're
it's
a day
Saturday.
ahead.
It's Saturday today. Oh man, my little brain is just breaking right now. This is
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So I don't know. It'll be. I think they're gonna do like an hour break probably, and then get into top 8. It's
Hmm.
usually what they do. Deck checks, things like that.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
um, I think again, a little different than what we see at Pro Tours and US Nats, where they kind of have like a full day of top 8.
Yeah.
Um, but again,
Who?
smaller events, you can kind of
Final
get away with
question
that.
before we kind of wrap up the episode. Who do you think is going to be the hero who wins the most nationals?
Say Gravy Bones because I think Victor's not going to be able to play in enough that he actually gets there.
All right. I
I
think
think it's gonna be
that's
Gravy Bones. Um,
a good
I think
answer.
we're gonna see like probably like 8 to 12 heroes win Nats though.
Okay. You think it's gonna be that big of a spread?
I think so.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say 15 plus.
Okay, I like that.
I think Gravy will win the most. I think Victor will win however many this weekend, and then he'll probably be gone. And then yeah, I think Uh, Gravy Bones will probably do pretty well.
Yep,
Arguably, though, if Victor leaves, some of the decks that get bullied by Victor are able to then
yep,
beat Gravy. So maybe it flips on its head. Who knows?
yep.
Um, but with that being said, we're gonna wrap up the episode here. Next week, I don't know what we're gonna cover next week. We're gonna cover something fun next week. We'll probably recap the Nationals events that occurred and chat about that a little bit. But the main topic will probably be something maybe a little bit off the wall. Maybe we'll do like a deep dive into maybe like the new heroes or something like that. What do you think? Maybe
Like
like
Auroras, maybe.
builds we've seen. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm game for that. That could be something
yeah,
fun. We'll have I think it's US Nats and then it's 3 weeks of Nationals. I think how it normally
yep,
goes. So we're gonna be week 2 of Nationals, so we can recap some stuff there, talk about what the new heroes are going, things like that. Um,
yeah.
and go
We'll
from there.
we'll figure it out as we go. But
Yeah.
with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching Cast to Oblivion, episode 6, the 2026 US Nats recap episode. I am one of your co-hosts, Carter Barton. You can find us at Revel in Wraith with my co-host Zach Donahue.
Hi, I'm Zach.
You
Sigil something on the YouTube machine.
If you guys really enjoy their content, make sure to hit that like button, click the subscribe button, and now you can also join our Discord server in the link below. Hope to see you guys there.
Some
I keep saying with that being said, I'm great at this. The best.
professionals.
I'm terrible at this. We will see you guys in next week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye
See
bye.
ya.